Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sasha Farbach. Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić has said he was successful in all 10 municipalities holding elections on March 29th, even as watchdogs flagged voter intimidation and irregularities. Now, with protests fading, the big question now, can the student movement still shake up Serbian politics, or will the traditional opposition take the lead? Let's now talk about the latest with our guest, Marta Szpala, research assistant, the Institute of Political Studies, Polish Academy of Sciences. Good to have you with us here on TVP World.
Thank you for hosting me.
So the president of Serbia has come out, said he's won across the board. First reaction to that, and with some of these watchdogs, as we said, CRTA rather, saying, well, they were irregularities, this cannot be. So give us your take.
Yeah, so yesterday we have the local election in 10 municipalities in Serbia, mainly the rural one, only one. It was the city Bor in the eastern Serbia, and it was the first election which after the 1.5 year protest in Serbia, when after the canopy collapse in Novi Sad in November 2024, people are protesting, accusing the government of corruption, clientelism, and are demanding the election, the parliamentary one. But the government is having like this wait-and-see strategy. He wants people to be exhausted of the protest, and this is why this election were important, because the government, and especially because as you said, we are not speaking about the government, but rather President Vučić himself, who is, the main person and the leader controlling whole system. So this election were rather referendum about his position, and he wanted to regain the legitimacy and have a proof that he is still supported by the majority of the citizens, despite the fact that the people are like all the time on the streets. Now we don't observe huge protests, but a lot of protest action all over the Serbia. And the second thing which was important this election, that the president wanted to prove that the change is not possible in Serbia, that the regime is controlling everything, state institution, judiciary. We can mention that despite that in the catastrophe in Novi Sad, 16 persons died. We still don't have any trials on that. Nobody was taken to trials because of this catastrophe. So to show to the citizens that they are powerless, that despite the protests, despite organization, it's like a lot of activists and students organizing a lot of action, they really can't change anything in Serbia. And this is like the question, if it's that true after yesterday. So my take after yesterday election is, first of all, we really observe a lot of irregularities, as you said. CERTA, the monitoring organization, trusted and famous one with a lot of experience, they clearly stated that the election in Serbia are not democratic. We observe voters intimidation, parallel voters list. We observe all state party agency engage in pressuring the citizens and voters to vote. We observe organized transportation of voters from other municipalities, but also from abroad, from Bosnia and Bulgaria. We can say that in the city of Bor, there were, on the voters register, we have only 2,000 people less who have the voting rights, the whole number of citizens. So it is said that a lot of voters were added to the voters list. But despite of all this violence and pressure, I would say that the government have a lot of problems in securing this victory, and still we are not sure if it is victory. Aleksandar Vučić said so. It is also telling that it's not the election committee or election commission who is saying who really won, but the president himself. So, he is not, it is not his authority to say so. And all the students list and the activists, but also monitoring agencies, they are saying that they will submit a lot of complaints. So we are not sure if these results, which we still don't have the whole picture, will be valid. And this was also the case before, when we have the election last year, when at the beginning the Vučić said that he won, but later on the judges and the judiciary said that we have to conduct the election once again, because the level of irregularities was so high that we can't say that this election were valid.
Yeah. If I could just jump in on that, let me ask you there, because it's interesting what you've mentioned already. I want to come back to, as you said, this is it was a sort of referendum on how happy people were. I mean, as I said, it's a municipal level. But if we look at this, and you mentioned the protest, now after 17 months of this, as we said, what happened after Novi Sad, the canopy collapse, why is, if it's true, why is President Vučić's party still so powerful? What contributed to that? And what is the future of the student movement? We've seen that in the past, but it's sort of dissipated. So those 2 points, please.
Mm-hmm. So first of all, I don't think that the system is still so strong, because, as you said, it was only 10 municipalities, and they put a lot of money for winning this election. So for the past three months, I was in Serbia. I was observing there were a lot of new investment in those municipalities, vote buying. There were a lot of, they were pushing employees of the administration of public enterprises to vote for the party. So I would say that, of course, they are still controlling state institutions. As I said, they still have a lot of money, mainly from corruption. So when they are using a lot of public money to secure this result. It is also important to say that despite we have a lot of violence, especially in Bor, Bajna Bašta, the journalists were beaten, the activists were beaten, the monitoring mission were beaten. Police was not reacting. Actually, police was protecting those who were organizing the vote buying operation. So this is the problem. And as I said, I would rather say that the results are showing that the regime is weak, because they put all efforts in this 10 municipalities. Altogether, it is 2,100 voters, so it's not much, but still it was it took a lot of effort to secure the result. And what next? This is the question, how the society will read this result, because on one hand we can see that cooperation between local activists and students movements proved that they really can have a good results, especially in the city of Bor, when we have the big Chinese company, when this is who is. It's a lot of people are working there. The governing party got less than 50%. And this kind of mobilization, if it will be in place, I think it will be really hard for government to secure this kind of result on the national level, especially that we know that in the big cities it's really harder to intimidate voters. And as I said, it was mainly rural municipalities when it is easier for administration to pressure the voters. You know, we can see it that also in this election that in small villages the government secure voters, but in the, let's say, urban surroundings, it was very hard for them. So I would say that the government really, it will be really hard for them to organize this kind of pressure on voters in the national election. So I would say that they will wait and they won't organize the election in the, I don't know, next 3 months, because they still need time to, I would say, to pressure the activists, to pressure the civil society, to discourage people from voting, because, as I said, I would say that this local election proves that the government is not in the control of the citizens and voters. Mm-hmm. And this is also the problem.
Final quick one. Mm-hmm. Just really quick. I know we're conscious of time. I'm just curious on what could happen next, the trend of this. How does this, I mean, municipal level is small, but how much is this indicative of any sort of other bigger moves if we're looking at general snap elections down the line?
Mm-hmm. I think the problem is, and that, you know, the people in Serbia and also those who are opposing the government, they have no trust in established opposition who is present in the parliament, and this is a challenge, because, as I said, on the municipal level, it was this kind of cooperation between students and the local activists. They created usually they created united list, and this is behind this success. But on the national level, it will be really hard, especially that the election system in the parliamentary election in Serbia is quite tricky one. So there is closed list, and the whole Serbia, 7 million of people, is one electoral unit. So actually the parties and the local organization have to decide beforehand who will be in the list, and then voters are voting on the list, not the specific people. Okay. So that creates a lot of tension before the election in this, I would say, bloc who wants to have a change in Serbia and get rid of the Aleksandar Vučić.
All right. So thanks for all that. Really interesting update there about what happened there in Serbia. That was our guest this morning, Marta Szpala. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for joining us, but stay right here on TVP World for more news and commentary. Goodbye.